Hey, I'm Caleb.
I'm Tara.
And we're selling our 1969 Columbia 36 sloop that we love dearly. There's nothing wrong with this boat. We would really love to continue sailing her every day of the year, but we now have a toddler who loves jumping and climbing off things, and it just makes sailing a little bit too risky for us right now at this time in our life. So we got to say goodbye to this boat, but we're going to give you a quick tour and show you how much we love her. So here we go. Oh yeah. So this is Dragonfly, our beloved sailboat, 36 feet long, built in Vancouver, BC in 1969. The following year, she was actually raced to Hawaii and she crossed the Pacific and back. And she's been based in the Pacific Northwest here in the Inside Passage mostly since then. So yeah, let's do a tour. So one thing we really like about this boat is it's got a very comfortable cockpit that's great for cruising, but also great for hosting. So we'll go check it out.
The boat also comes with this slip right here. So we're at Stones Marina. You're looking at say Sechin.
Castle Island over there. We often just row or paddle, take our paddle boards over to the island. So this kind of makes for like good waterfront property for you.
Yeah, so here we go.
This is the cockpit where all the magic happens. We've got a tiller made by hand out of Douglas fir, multiple layers. She's also rigged up for an auto tiller, our tiller pilot, which we do own, brand new, purchased brand new in 2024. We've got a really large lazarette, which we love. You could probably sleep a couple people in here if you wanted to, which is where we store most of our fluids, lubricants, tools, PFDs, extra rope, extra road.
Unless you climb in there, you can't really get a
whatever
sense
you
how
want.
big it is.
It's a huge space. You'll get to take a closer look if you come for a tour. On the aft here, we have a CBQ with a dedicated propane tank. We have a stern line of approximately 200 feet of buoyant line for stern ties, which are super important here in the Pacific Northwest. We've got a 6-horse outboard motor by Tohatsu, recently serviced every year. Works like a dam. This boat will come with a 12-foot inflatable dinghy right here, which holds air. No leaks in the pontoons, very proud to say.
Very extensive repairs.
Lots of repairs required with inflatables, as you might know. You'll also notice that we do have 2 solar panels, which can be mounted in a variety of configurations because they're flexible. This might be an area for potential upgrade because these panels are quite old, but when we lay them out, when we're at anchor for days at a time, it often keeps the batteries charged to keep the fridge on. So yeah, again, opportunity for upgrade, but right now a functioning solar system. When we look at some of the rigging, single-masted boat, quite a large mainsail. Both of the sails were replaced brand new in 2012 and have been sailed very little since then. So they're all in really great shape. 3 reefing points on the main, and of course a roller furlered Genoa, which is a 150 Genoa. As much foresail as you're ever going to need for this particular boat. This boat also comes with a spinnaker, standard symmetrical spinnaker, and a spinnaker pole, which is also very useful for the Genoa, particularly in following seas or light winds.
Ooh, would you like to show us the winches? Yeah,
the winches are gorgeous. The boat had new Anderson winches put in, port and starboard for your foresail, as well as an Anderson winch for your mainsail halyard, which is mounted there, which can be worked just fine with that short handle there in that space. We can show you how that works. But really nice to be able to raise and lower the sail from back here instead of needing to use the old school winches that are on the mast. You can choose to use those winches. You'll need to use them if you want to lower the foresail, which we have done before, taking the foresail off. But these winches are gorgeous, 2 speeds. Yeah, take a look. Roller furlers managed from this pulley here. And of course, we've got our engine controls right here. This is where we mount our depth sounder, which also provides our speed over ground. There are some old school electronics, probably from the 80s, the Stowe system. We haven't really used this much because it's pretty old school. The wind vane or wind meter does work, which is in terms of directional. Speed is sketchy. Sometimes it'll give you wind speed over 20 knots.
Yeah, 15 to 20 sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you're really sailing, you know you're really sailing.
Yeah. But the main thing is that the wind directional works is very helpful for trimming your sails and docking and anchoring and all that. One thing you'll notice about this boat is it being its era of 1969, it's got a lot of original teak. So we've tried to preserve that as much as possible. A couple of years ago, we sanded everything down, and we put fresh coats of Cetal on everything, mended some of the wood. And one thing that's really special about this boat is the amount of Northwest First Nations art, including these orcas here that we love, have touched up a little bit on the doors. Yeah, we'll get to see more as we go inside. Something else we're really proud of is redoing all of the top deck paint. So making sure that we've got this really nice grip coat on all of the blue pads here. We've also got a grip coat on the very top here for when you're managing sails, which is super important when you're at sea and you're heeled over. So yeah, you've got effectively, you know, brand new top coat. She shines up real nice, and she's real grippy and feels really safe even when you're barefoot, which is nice.
Why don't you take us up to the foredeck?
Sure, let's
got
go.
a real roomy foredeck.
Let's go check out the foredeck. We mount a couple lawn chairs if you want. This is into the V berth. You can just jump down into the bed if you want. We'll check that out a little bit later. Yeah, we really like this foredeck. It's just got a ton of space for hosting boat parties, but also when we are cruising for weeks at a time, we'll often stow either our inflatable dinghy or our Walker Bay hardshell dinghy in this area. But there's still plenty, even when we've got a dinghy up here mounted, there's still plenty of room to work with the sails, hoist the spinnaker.
I often have my 12-foot paddleboard up front
yeah,
too.
often mount paddle boards either here. Room to set up like a collapsible kayak if you need. Let's keep moving down the line. One other thing is a lot of boats of this era will start to get leaks. This boat has no leaks at all, no seepage from rain, so no fresh water coming in over the top, no seawater coming in. We redid a couple of the windows to make sure everything was really sealed tight. This Dodger's great. It's nice and tall. For a tall guy like me, I can actually stand under it when we're at sea.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1", so if you're somewhere around 6, you'll probably be able to fit under this Dodger, which is nice. It's been a very warm winter this year, so we're starting to get a little bit of algae growth, but best way to manage that with this Dodger, our experience, is just a pressure washer or some soap and water. One thing you'll notice is this boat could probably use some new running rigging, some new ropes in a few places, but that's an option for upgrade. If you choose, you can invest in some fresh ropes and do some more color coding. Totally up to you, but as it is, everything works as it is. The boat sails beautifully. You could sail her up to Alaska this May or June if you wanted to. If that's on your to-do list, this boat will definitely get you there, and it is going to keep you warm at night. We have a diesel, non-electric
Why don't you show us from the inside?
stove, and we'll go take a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, we could look at the outside all day, but I know you always want to see the inside, so let's take a look. One thing I love about this companionway hatch is how tall it is. You can leave the doors open, you can see all the way down to the V berth, maintain conversations with the crew if you want, and it just makes it really easy for getting in. You know, it's not like a hole you have to climb into. You really just walk down like a set of stairs. This is where the diesel stove is located, a diesel, I guess, furnace or heater, which runs up top. This is the fuel tank for that diesel heater. In our experience, a full tank running it every night, all night long, will usually get 4 to 5 days, depending on how clean the system is. So it is something that, you know, every year or so you're going to want to clean the diesel heater, but it's a very easy to use, no electricity required, and it keeps the cabin very warm, which is really nice. Come on down the stairs. We'll take a look at the galley. Really love having this structural post here, something to hold on to when you're heeled over down below. Inside the galley, we actually really love, a lot of galleys are kind of tucked in near the companionway, which is great when you're sailing, but not very convenient when you're hosting or when you're at anchor. Whereas this galley is massive. You got tons of room for prep. You got a 3-burner stovetop. You've got an oven big enough to fit our Dutch oven, which we love for baking bread, stews, and other larger meals at sea. Sometimes we store our baking sheets and muffin tins down there. And you'll also see that we have a storage space right here for all of our other kind of kitchen implements. 4 drawers that lock shut. We'll send you with some cutlery and some other important accessories, which you're welcome to customize for yourself.
Basically fully stocked.
Fully stocked kitchen, storage area back here, including some vents, which is nice.
And a nice little pantry space.
We've got some LED lights for lighting your zone. And probably the deepest fridge I've ever seen on a small sailboat. But one thing that's really nice about this fridge is that it has a freezer. And it does work very well. Actually. So as long as you keep the temperature setting on your fridge and freezer consistent and at the right level, you can keep ice cubes in here. You can keep frozen meat in here. You might not be able to keep it at -14 like you would at home. I mean, you probably could. You burn a lot more electricity that way, but it's a very capable fridge that can hold everything you need for multiple weeks. And then when we talk about dry storage, that is either going to be behind the sink or underneath the settee here. We have a couple different options for the tabletop. We actually chose to swap out the stock tabletop that you see here with a round live edge piece that we're also going to make available for sale with the boat. You'll see some pictures of that as well in the ad. So we don't actually have this bolted down because we'll let ultimately the new owner decide what kind of table that they want to have. But in this space is ultimately your couch and your lounge. This also turns into a very comfortable double bed. So when we have guests, couples, or friends staying, this is often a place that they might convert if they're not going to use the quarter berth. But underneath each one of these chairs is a sizable cubby that are all interconnected. And this is where we manage most of our dry storage, being able to keep certain things separate.
It's amazing the amount of food you can store on this boat.
Absolutely. And if you're not storing food,
gear.
Clothing, gear, whatever you might need.
Yeah, they're vented, which is nice.
Yeah, they're vented.
Keeps some airflow down there.
Yeah. And this post ultimately comes out, which allows you to create that bed space. We also have an insert piece of wood that can live in this area here. And one of these mats can go down. It kind of creates an extra deep couch, which we call the day bed, which can function with the table as well, which is kind of a cool hybrid option.
Yeah, you'll see some photos of that.
You want to switch on some of our port side lights and we can get some of the lighting. Really traditional lighting on this boat. As we move over here is our electrical panel, where we are able to manage, most of the electronics. There is another smaller electrical panel that we'll show you a little bit later in the Ford. We upgraded the battery selector from some of the old school stuff. So you've got a, make before break connection here, fuel gauge, fridge controls, all that kind of stuff. These quarter berths are awesome though. Each one is about 6.5 feet long, almost 7 feet long. So there's like no problem sleeping anybody in these spaces. They also function very well for storage. But really, if you've got a guest over, you can pretty much say, hey, take a quarter berth, and it's going to be more than enough room for them and all of their stuff. On either side, they're both absolutely identical.
There's a little gear locker here, sort of put your wet jackets and stuff right by the heater.
Yes, that's right off. Perfect. So this is, getting a good sense of the main cabin space here. So this is kind of our lounge, a space that we can keep warm with the oven or with the heater, so that if you're, cruising year round, you're always going to be comfortable. One thing we didn't show is this very large storage space under the sink is really helpful for cleaning implements, as well as that's where your water pump is. So that's going to control the water pressure for both the sink in the galley as well as the sink in the head. While we're in the cabin, before we move forward, let's take a look at the bilge. As I mentioned, this boat is watertight, both from freshwater above and saltwater below. So we generally always expect it to be dry, unless we're doing some cleaning in here or someone spilled anything. This is also where you would manage the control of your freshwater tanks. So we've got a 70-gallon tank in the forward area underneath the V-berth. We've got a 70-gallon tank right back here. You'll have one on at a time. Ultimately, that's the water that's going to feed your sink here.
What's really nice too is there's you got a pump, but you also have analog, like hand pump. Do you want to show that?
Yeah.
If you're at anchor or out and you're trying to conserve some energy, you can just wash your dishes with a couple little hand pumps there.
You'll notice that we do have things like heaters plugged in because there is AC power on the boat. There's 3 outlets. We also run extension cords to different parts of the boat so that you've got ample AC power when you're at dock.
Got some nice brass.
I guess that means that I owe everybody the next round. We also got some really cool, cute storage zones here for knickknacks or whatever it might be. We've mounted this zone here to store plates, which is a new addition to the boat. You're welcome to move that around if you like. Cool, let's move forward. This boat gets more and more interesting the further forward you go, because you've almost got like this in-between room here, which can be separated even from the V-berth with these double doors that are on the head, which is super cool. We've never seen this kind of feature in a boat before.
Like French doors in the middle here. Here's your, would be your traditionally your navigation desk. You got your charts and your chart accoutrement.
It's also got this really cool, we didn't even learn about this until later, but this also folds out.
Yeah, so you can keep some stuff up there without it falling off. We turned this into a closet because we were living aboard for a long period of time. So we installed this copper and basically clothing rod.
So it's up to you how you choose to use it, either as a closet or as an office or a bit of both. But you've also got some additional storage up in here. This is a nice deep zone that was great for books, as well as another kind of dry zone in here. And you've also got this other electrical panel, which we can get into, which controls things like USB ports in the front area, as well as your nav side lights and your mast lights.
There is also another storage right under where you were sitting.
Oh, yeah, there's some storage under here.
Yeah, there's like a little sort of
dry hole,
there,
as well as another space down here, which is again huge space for books. And
it's like the entirety of the nav desk here, which is quite large.
Cool. I guess before we go to the V-berth, we'll check out the head, and I'll let you just take the lead in there.
Well, you should open both doors so you can show the fullness of the space. Okay, so here we are in the head. We got the traditional Jabsco.
Got a pump toilet. And as you can see here, I just opened up this other door, which kind of sections off the V-berth, if you wanted to.
Now you're kind of in almost like a dressing room.
Almost like a third cabin within the boat.
It makes the head itself feel really roomy.
And it's actually rigged for a shower. So I think one of the reasons that they did this is so that you can attach
there's a drain down here.
There we go. So there's a drain there so that you could rig up, it looks like someone's done it before us, a curtain and either an attachment from the sink, or maybe you could even put, if you wanted some hot water on board, and you could use this as a shower area. We never ended up doing, we'd always just shower on deck in the warm months. But this is also another fully functioning sink here that's independent, which is powered by the same pump.
Also has a little hand pump if you choose.
I'm going to put the cover on this, but we just wanted you to see that we've got a brand new holding tank, which we installed actually just in the last few months. It was located in the closet in the head, and pretty much everything, it was time for new tank and new hoses, and we decided to actually put everything back where it really should be, which is in the head, shorter hose and a shorter route to ultimately going out to sea. There's also a macerator, which you can't see as easily, but we can show you. And what that does is it really grinds and chops up whatever's in your holding tank and pumps it out, so that you're not going to avoid clogs. But that's also legally required in some parks, as well as if you're going to go into the USA. So we wanted this boat to be ready for international travel if you are going to Alaska or into the San Juan Islands from here. Or heck, if you're going all the way to Mexico, which you certainly could. Yeah. Cool. Now for the best room of all, which is the V-berth. Now,
we'll do a little dance.
We'll do a little dance. And while we're here, we'll kind of transition back to our typical way of setting up the head.
All right.
Hey.
Hey.
So this is our V-berth. We currently have more cushion than necessary because we've put the stock, I guess, original cushions that are available come with the boat and allow you to break it up into two smaller bunks. But we actually have this mattress custom made for us. And it's also got an anti-moisture layer on the bottom. It's a very high quality mattress, and it makes living and sleeping on the boat
really high quality.
Amazing. It's not cheap at all. You might decide to simply put these cushions in storage as we had and just rely on this, but at least you can see you've also got an option where if you weren't going to use the custom foam mattress, you can actually, there's a removable section right below it that allows you to kind of create additional floor space here and have two single bunks instead of a very large, I would say, almost queen size for a V-berth. You'll notice that I'm 6'1", and I have absolutely no problem fitting in this space. And so for a couple, either, you know, it's just a couple or a couple with a kid or a couple with a dog, whatever it might be, you can all fit in here quite comfortably.
Yeah, it's hard to get a sense of how roomy it is, but there's also, you have storage here. It's where the previous holding tank was, but we found it's just a lot more practical to have in the bedroom.
And you could, the goal is to turn this back into a full-length closet. So it's kind of up to the next owners to decide what you want to do with this very large storage space.
So that's one side. Then the other side, you have these really practical drawers.
And they all get progressively deeper. So if you got a partner, you can fight over who gets which ones, as we did. But we've also integrated some net storage and this shelf here. This door leads to your anchor locker. It doesn't actually hold the anchor is mounted on the bowsprit, but all your chain lives in there. You could store more in that compartment, but we choose not to because it's usually quite moist. So we have that insulated and kind of separated from the elements that way. Super cute.
Hatch. We'll pop up, see what's going on the foredeck. Check in with the crew.
And of course, you've got these really cute little curtains. There's more, you know, Pacific Northwest First Nations art all over this boat, even in the tiling in the head, which you might have seen. And there are a couple vintage kerosene lanterns on this boat, which produce smoke, but they,
not if you
use the right lamp oil, instead of just kerosene, it can burn really clean.
Yeah, here we go. All right. We'll get a shot, you know, down the way. The layout of this boat is really what sold us on it. We just never seen a boat quite laid out like this, and we were.
Yeah, it meant
and
so
it's
that,
also very roomy. Like
I mean, again, I'm 6'1", and I still have room here.
Yeah.
I'm fully stretched out, and I have no problem standing here. It's really the only sailboat I've ever been on, you know, within this price point that I felt comfortable in. And you've got these huge windows. The Columbia is unique in that it's got these very large windows in the galley. Yeah, and I think what's unique is, like, if you are going to be, you know, sailing with other people, this boat creates opportunities for privacy in ways that a lot of other boats don't. Being able to just separate space. Someone wants to take a nap, they can close a door, and the rest of the crew can still enjoy themselves. So
yeah, with the double doors, I don't know if we spoke to this, but you know, you can have, you know, a couple sleeping in the V berth with the door shut. This door can be shut, so anyone sleeping in the you know, day bed or in the quarter berths have their own privacy, but then you each have a door to access the head if you need to get up in the night to go pee.
Yeah, that's nice.
Or do your business.
Yeah, so that's most of the interior. You've got a couple vents in here. We've also got a vent in the head that we didn't show you. In terms of onboard electronics, as you've seen, the nav system is very old school, so usually what we used is actually just a tablet that ran Navionics or phones, and we would have mounted that in the cockpit area. You've got an old school VHF, you know, welcome to upgrade it if you want. We've also got a handheld, which I'm not going to be selling. I'm going to be taking this with us for paddling trips. Hey, so we've got the engine compartment cover and the stairs off, so you can take a look at our beautiful motor. It's a 2008 Yanmar diesel 3GM30F. It's been very well maintained based on the manufacturer's recommendations. We have the owner's manual. We kind of follow their recommendations based on different parts, different times. Had an oil change every year, as well as new belts whenever required. You'll notice that this alternator is a different color. That's because it's actually an aftermarket alternator. It's a 3-stage alternator that charges the batteries much faster, much more efficiently than the standard alternator that would have come with this engine. And you can learn a little bit more about the system that manages that. We've got some additional manuals related to that. We've also got a brand new water pump that was installed in 2024. We've got a brand new starter battery that was replaced in I think early 2025, and 2 6-volt house batteries that are stored in the lazarette behind. And of course your system for filtering the the intake for your coolant system. I have, while we've owned this motor, we have cleaned the heat exchanger, so it's free of corrosion. And generally this engine is very well maintained and starts every time.
It's particularly loud with the cover off, but it's actually amazing how much it dampens the noise when you have the engine cover on.
Gushing water,
Yeah,
nice and clear.
just chugging.
No sketchy exhaust. No, she burns clean. Excellent motor. Always done as well. No problems at all. Probably the best thing the boat has going for her is this excellent motor that will run very efficiently.
Yeah, and for many more years
to come, many decades to come, this
Yeah.
motor will last a very long time along with this boat. You'll cruise if you're going about 2.5 thousand RPMs. You'll cruise about 5.5. You bring it up to the 3.25 range that it's designed to cruise at. You'd easily be 6.5 as long as the bottom paint is in good condition, which it is. We redid all of the bottom paint. We did the zincs, scrubbed and coated the prop in November of 2025. So this boat is slick, she's clean, she's ready to fly. And when you're sailing, you'll probably cruise at least 6 to 7 in that space with a clean hull with this boat. All right. Hey, so we're going now, but we hope you really like our boat, and we hope you want to buy it. In terms of sailing, she actually sails very well. All points of sail. She sails upwind like a hot damn. Like you can get really close hauls.
It's crazy how well she sails upwind, actually.
For this part of the world, when it's lots of zigzagging, if you love to sail, you want to sail more and motor less, like Dragonfly will get you there under wind power if you want. But if you want a motor, she's also got a super reliable motor. So really, there's only good things we can say about this boat. She's been so good to us, and we know she's gonna be good to you guys too. So yeah, have a good time out there.
Yeah.